tell me when you're ready, Lester. Good people, they work hard all year on this singing. And it's a job to put on singing like this. I just do a little singing over an Oktoberfest, and I work on it all year. I can't imagine having 3 days like this, but how many's been coming here longer than 10 years? 20 years? 30 years? 40 years? I have. I started coming when I was 12 years old up on Potter's Knoll. And man, when they moved it down here, I thought they ruined this singing. Had all these steps to climb and everything, but I love it now. I remember some of the old groups. The McLaughlins used to come here. Anybody remember them? Pilgrim's Quartet. And it's different ones I remember through the years already. Stopped singing now, but always one of my favorite weekends of the year. Next year, be celebrating, I think, Donnie said that, 70 years next year. How many's coming back?
Lord willing.
We'll have a good time. I plan on being here unless the Lord comes back. This world's in a mess. It's getting like He said it would be in the last days. We're seeing it today. Y'all heard about the shooting in Texas yesterday. It's a weekly thing now. But where we're going, if you're a child of God, there'll be none of that over there. That ought to make you happy today. You ought to be happy that you're leaving here. Somebody said, you ready to go today? I said, I'm ready, but I don't have to. Don't shoot me or nothing. We'll wait a little while till the Lord comes back. He's coming. And He's coming in a cloud. He's coming to get His church and take us out of here. Are you ready, Lester? All right, I want you to make these people real welcome today. They work hard all year. Stepping out on faith.
1, 2, test, 1, 2, yeah. Amen.
Well, howdy. It's been a long time since we've been here. Don't laugh so hard, Malcolm. How many of you was here for the morning service this morning?
Amen.
Got to see Brother Malcolm's grandson, right, Malcolm? He come down, he gave his life to the Lord. He raised his hand and he come down this morning. Young fella give his life to the Lord. How old is he, Malcolm? 12 years old. Boy, I wish I'd got started when I was 12, don't you?
Amen.
My goodness, I'd have saved myself a lot of grief from my parents too. I'd probably had more hair. Now, Ed, you laugh too hard.
Well, we'll get started here in just a second, get a few things lined out. We've got a full day of singing, and so we've got the schedules up there. Go up there and get you a schedule, and you can see who's coming up next. And well, this first song that we're going to sing is a song that the Lord gave me, I don't know, a couple years ago. And we was at a church, and it was so crowded, we was having to set up in the choir loft, and so preacher was up there preaching his heart out. You could tell he had studied, and he had 4 or 5 points, and every one of those points had 4 or 5 points, and he was just really preaching. And I just happened to look back through the crowd, and everybody sat back there talking to each other or had their phones out. Have y'all seen that? People in church with the phones out? I don't know what that is. But anyway, it was like the Lord just spoke to me and said, Awilda, what is it that's so important? What's more important than my word? And so God gave me this song. So this is for all the preachers out there that you look up and you see people talking. This song's for you. Have you seen my new curtains? Said the woman to her friend. They're blue and brown all the way to the ground with the white thread woven in. And they just match my bedspread. I can't wait for you to see. And after church is over, you have to come home with me. Then another voice from behind my pew said I've changed points and plugs. And I gave her a tune-up, and I checked the gas for drugs. Then the preacher said, there's the answer if you want to find happiness. Not only did I miss the answer, I'm not sure what his question was. What are you talking about? It's more important than God's word. Is it a recipe, a remedy, a funny story that you've heard? God's word is so precious, close attention we should pay. We need to hear the message, let it help us along the way. Now I know a lot of you are going to be able to relate to this next verse. Now a lot of things have changed since I was just a kid. We never made a peep in church, we learned our lesson if we did. Now a baby's gonna cry, and a toddler's gonna fuss, and the preacher can preach over them, but what about the rest of us? What are you talking about? It's more important than God's word. Is it a recipe, a remedy, a funny story that you've heard? God's word is so precious, close attention we should pay. We need to hear the message, let it help us along the way. Now I'll admit that I'm as guilty as the rest, but I have promised God this Sunday I'll do my best to keep my comments to myself and listen to the word. And after church is over, I'll spread the message that I heard. What are you talking about? It's more important than God's word. Is it a recipe, a remedy, a funny story that you've heard? God's word is so precious, close attention we should pay. We need to hear the message, let it help us along the way. We need to hear God's message, it'll help us along the way. Amen. Isn't that the truth though? People sitting there talking to each other. I'm like, what is it?
Who was that?
That was one of your three fans.
Somebody up there? I got one fan. I had three yesterday. They've all left or something. I know I've got one today.
Somewhere beyond the grave, there is a land
Amen.
that Jesus went to, there by his own hand. But for the saved by grace, there is a resting place, and in a few more days, it will be mine. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it dreaming, let me dream on. Some call it paradise, somewhere beyond the skies. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Someone said you can't go back home again. Things will not ever be as good as they've been. I've got good news for you. Amen. Heaven comes into view. Yeah. Just one glimpse, and then you'll see the best is yet to come. call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it dreaming, let me dream on. Some call it paradise, somewhere beyond the sky. Some call it heaven, I call it home. Some call it heaven, I call it home.
Did you hear him out there, Mom, Pop? Sounded good? Barely. Need to be louder?
Yeah.
I'm about to shout on that when somebody wants to hear us.
Well, this little gal sang up here last year, and she's going to sing again today. And we, like I said, we just made a new CD, and she sings on this CD. And so she's got a Sharpie in case anybody wants a autograph. She did stop and get her a Sharpie on the way up.
If you all remember last year, on the last day, and I'm going to take a little time to thank you all. Callie had a little spell on the monkey bars. Seems like every year we come up here, some little fella gets hurt some way, somehow. Knock on wood.
Not this year.
I'm knocking my own head. But Callie ended up going to the hospital that day, and she did have a fractured arm. It was a radial break, and we went to see a specialist that week. She ended up having to have a reduction surgery. If she didn't have that surgery, she would have had a hyperextended arm on her left arm for the rest of her life. So we went ahead and done the surgery, and she toughed it out, and today we're going to go hit the monkey bars again. So wish us luck.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to Him belong, they are weak, He is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me, yes, Jesus loves me, yes, Jesus loves me, the Bible tells me so.
In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have all this world, give me Jesus. Anything else in this world they can have as long as I've got Jesus, and that security knowing He's my Savior. And when I am alone, and when I am alone, and when I am alone, give me Jesus.
No, I asked her.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus.
On the sugar house.
That's the best time when you're alone. He's right there with you. Give me Jesus. But here's the best part. And when I come to die, and when I come to die, and when I come to die, Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus.
Amen. You know, it's hard for me to believe that this has been going on for almost 70 years, 69 years. There's not a whole lot of things last that long anymore. But you know, when something's good, it's last, you know. A lot of folks, the hymn books, you know, they say them are old songs. You know why? They're old because they're good.
That's right.
Amen. They got the people that used to write the songs back, those that's in our hymnal, they got some really meat in those words. I mean, they knew what they were singing about. What was it? Fanny? Is that right? Man, she wrote Blessed Assurance blind and wrote Blessed Assurance. A friend of hers come in and had the medley for the song, but she didn't have the words for it. And she sat down at the piano and played it for Fanny. And as soon as she started playing it, Fanny started singing the words. The Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. Praise the Lord. I'm going to try to do one here. You're going to get your request, brother. You asked me to sing one, so you're in for it. Amen. Pray hard, folks. I need it. My heart is so heavy, burdened down with grief. This valley is so low, the mountain it's so steep. But there's a brighter day a-coming, and soon I'll reach the top. For Jesus walks ahead of me and moves all stumbling blocks. And Jesus walks ahead of me. He makes my path straight. He leads me through the valleys and listens when I pray. If I'd ask Him in faith, believing He'll take care of all my needs. Oh, Satan cannot harm me, for Jesus walks ahead of me. Well, every step that I take is just one step ahead. Every mountain that I climb, by my footsteps He has led. But soon this journey will be ended. Heartaches, I'll be set free. No more disappointments, for Jesus walks ahead of me. And Jesus walks ahead of me. He makes my path straight. He leads me through the valleys and listens when I pray. If I would ask Him in faith, believing He'll take care of all my needs. Oh, Satan cannot harm me, for Jesus walks ahead of me. Oh, if I'd ask Him in faith, believing He'll take care of all my needs. Oh, Satan cannot harm me, for Jesus walks ahead of me.
Okay, well, I had a couple people came up to me last night and this morning and say, we missed the tater song. You got to sing it tomorrow. So for those of you that's getting tired of hearing it, I'm sorry. But I do want to go ahead and sing it. Anytime I get a request, I'm going to sing it. Amen. So this is the tater song. Send it out especially to Ed and Malcolm.
They're rotten taters.
No, they're not. They're sweet taters.
Well, Ed's a peeled tater.
You know, I'm sure everybody in here can relate to this, that you meet people up here, you only see them that one time of year, but you get a chance to be with them, and oh my gosh, it's just like that you never even left. And
Sometimes 2 or 3 days is all you can take, though.
love you guys.
Just kidding. It's good to be able to laugh and have fun, isn't it? Amen. Listen, we have a blast out the campground. We do, don't we? Amen. You moved on me. Where'd you go? You was over there. Son over there. You follow the shades what you're doing today, aren't you? Okay. All right.
Oh, you got the baby. Well, last Wednesday night, our preacher got up and began to speak his mind. He said, it's come to my attention, we're in the middle of a tater fight. Well, we scratched our heads and we looked around, not a tater did we see. Then he began to explain that these taters are you and me.
How you doing? Hey, you know what I missed yesterday?
He said, now, old spectator, he's a real good guy. He'll show up for every service. He'll watch them preach and pray and sing and listen to the testimonies. But he's not the kind to step up and help. He'd rather keep his seat. And when it's time to lend a hand, that's a tater you'll never meet.
But I'll be faithful to come back to flat landing.
And there's another guy sitting in the pew. He loves to hear his own voice. He's got an opinion on everything, from the weather to the song leader's choice. Old commentator don't get much done. He sure talks a real good game. He'll tell you all that's going on and just exactly who's to blame. And there's a couple other gals you'll want to avoid. It's best just stay out of their way. Oh, agitator and irritator, those girls will ruin your day. One will stir it up, the other spreads it around. They don't stop till everybody's mad. Then up steps old brother dictator. Oh Lord, he's twice as bad. But the moral of this story, it's plain to see, these taters must be stopped. 'Cause sitting in amongst our church pews are a bunch of little tater tots. And them tater tots are good and pure, but they learn from what they see. So it's up to all us big spuds to be the tater we should be. Now the Bible clearly tells us what kind of tater we should be. Not a hesitator or irritator, but a sweet tater, don't you see? And as our preacher said that night, it's either amen or oh me. If God did an inspection, what kind of tater would you be? 'Cause God's gonna do an inspection, be the tater you should be. Told Lester if he puts on my tombstone she was a sweet tater, I'm gonna come back and haunt him.
Ain't no chance of that. Hey. And all the men said, hey.
Give him a hand, folks. Steppin out. Before Lester gets in trouble.